There is a silence that follows the chosen. A silence not of absence but of mystery. You have felt it. In the quiet moments between heartbeats, in the ache that never quite fades, in the way you've always known there was something different about you, something the world could not name but your spirit never forgot. You were not called to be loud, you were called to carry weight, the kind of weight that bends the soul but does not break it, the kind of calling that begins in shadows and matures in wilderness. That is why you have wandered. That is why nothing ordinary has ever satisfied you. Because you were never meant to live an ordinary life. Before anyone knew your name, heaven did. Before you spoke your first word, your life was already whispering with destiny. And yet no one told you. No one explained why your path would be harder, lonelier, deeper. No one warned you that chosenness often looks like rejection, that the crown is invisible, that the fire you carry will burn you first. But somewhere deep in your spirit you always knew. You've known it in the way your tears fall at strange times, in the way you discern pain behind a smile, in the way your dreams feel like messages. You are not just sensitive, you are seen. You are not just different, you are marked. This is not the beginning of a video. This is the confirmation of everything you've silently carried. If you are watching it, it's because the time has come to stop hiding what was hidden within you. Now let us walk into the mystery together. A wound that never closed, the birthmark of calling. Before the world gave you a name, it gave you a wound. Maybe it was abandonment, maybe betrayal, maybe a silence where love should have spoken. But whatever form it took, it pierced deeper than anyone could see, and it never fully healed. That scar has followed you into adulthood, not as a punishment, but as a sign. A birthmark, not of the body, but of the spirit. Because for the chosen, pain is often the first language heaven speaks. Like Joseph thrown into a pit by his own brothers, your suffering was not random. It was arrangement. It was consecration through affliction. There are those who are taught by comfort and those who are carved by sorrow. The chosen are almost always the latter. That is why you feel things others don't. Why your heart breaks for what others ignore. Why even your joy is laced with something eternal. You were not only wounded, you were awakened. There is a sacred tension in carrying pain that shapes rather than destroys. And that tension opens the door to what comes next. Isolation that feels sacred when God hides you. You have known the ache of being surrounded yet unseen, of sitting at a table and still feeling alone, of walking through life as if you were veiled in something invisible, something that set you apart, but never explained why. This is not coincidence, it is consecration. For the chosen, isolation is not just circumstantial, it is intentional. It is a divine hiding. Like David tending sheep in obscurity while kings dined in palaces. Like Moses in Midian, forgotten by Egypt but remembered by God. Like Jesus led into the wilderness before he ever preached a single word. There is always a season where the world cannot see you because heaven is shaping you. You are not being ignored, you are being incubated. To be hidden is not to be rejected. It is to be protected from premature exposure. It is in the hidden places where your roots grow deep, where your soul learns to hear the whisper of God without applause. And though it feels lonely, this kind of isolation is sacred, because it is not emptiness, it is presence. A presence too holy for the crowd. A voice too intimate for noise. And if you have heard that voice even in the silence, then you are ready to step deeper into the mystery of your calling. A war over your identity. Constant internal conflict. There is a battle that rages quietly beneath your skin. A war without swords, yet it leaves you exhausted. It is the conflict between who the world tells you to be and who heaven has already declared you are. You have felt torn, pulled in directions that do not match your design. You have tried to shrink yourself to fit into rooms God never meant you to enter. And every time you compromise your calling to keep the peace, something within you begins to die. This is not confusion, it is warfare. Because identity is always the first thing the enemy attacks when someone is chosen. Before Goliath, David had to wrestle with being seen only as a shepherd. Before Jesus began his ministry, the voice in the wilderness asked him, "If you are the Son of God." It has always been this way. Hell often knows your name before you do. But even in the tension, your true name still whispers from beneath the masks you've worn. And every time you choose authenticity over acceptance, you reclaim a piece of your destiny, a hunger. No one around you understands. You have tried to be satisfied with what others crave, the money, the title, the attention. But no matter how much you taste the things of this world, they leave you hollow, because your appetite was formed by something eternal. There is a hunger in you that nothing on earth can satisfy, a longing that stretches beyond this life. Others may think you are restless, too intense, too spiritual, but they cannot understand the ache of one who has seen glimpses of something holy. Like Daniel refusing the king's food, you are not rejecting the world out of pride. You are fasting from what is common because you were made for what is sacred. This hunger is not weakness. It is evidence that you have been touched by something more. And when you stop apologizing for it, it becomes fuel. Fire. Direction. A divine craving that leads you to the place your soul already knows. Dreams that feel like messages. Visions in the night. Long before you had words for your calling, you had dreams. Dreams that lingered long after waking. Symbols you didn't understand but couldn't forget. You may have seen yourself speaking healing, walking through crowds with a presence that was not entirely your own. You may have stood in deserts, climbed mountains, touched light. And though others call them imagination, you know better. Because something inside you stirred when you saw those things. Something deep called them familiar. Like Joseph, whose destiny was revealed in symbols before it was revealed in time, your dreams are not random. They are invitations, glimpses of a path not yet walked but already written. Even when life contradicts what you've seen in the night, the visions remain. They haunt you not with fear but with remembrance, a knowing that what you saw was real. That God speaks not only through prophecy but through the poetry of sleep. A life of delay and divine disruption. There are moments when it feels like you have been forgotten, like the promises whispered to your heart have been shelved in heaven's silence. Doors that almost opened suddenly slammed shut. Opportunities that seemed certain vanished overnight. You have watched others move forward while you wait, and you have wondered, what did I do wrong? But delay is not always denial. In the lives of the chosen, it is often preparation. Abraham waited decades for the child he was promised. Hannah wept year after year before the prophet Samuel was born. Elizabeth's womb remained closed until the perfect moment. And in all this, God was not absent. He was aligning. Divine disruption often looks like disorder, but behind the delay is orchestration, a redirection of timing, so that when your moment arrives, everything around you has already bowed to its purpose, what you call waiting. Heaven calls weaving. You are not late. You are right on time according to a clock that cannot be seen. Attacks that make no sense when hell knows your name. You have faced storms that came without warning. Battles you never asked for. Opposition from people you barely know. Spiritual heaviness that descends for no clear reason. And you've asked yourself, why me? Why does peace never seem to last? Why does breakthrough always come with backlash? It is because the realm of darkness often perceives your calling before you fully walk in it. The resistance you feel is not proof that you're failing. It's confirmation that you're dangerous. The enemy does not waste his weapons on the indifferent. He targets those who carry light. Like Job, whose integrity provoked the attention of heaven and the fury of hell, your suffering may have nothing to do with your mistakes. It may have everything to do with your mantle. There are assignments on your life that threaten systems. There are prayers you carry that shatter strongholds. And that is why you have been attacked. Not because you are weak, but because you are anointed. These attacks are not the end of your story. They are the unveiling of your strength. And every time you rise again, you echo the authority of the one who called you. An unexplainable authority. Spiritual weight you didn't earn. You walk into a room and the atmosphere shifts. People you barely know open their hearts to you. Strangers sense something in you they can't describe. Children trust you without fear. The broken are drawn to your presence as if it carries warmth they forgot existed. And you wonder why. You've never asked for influence. You've never tried to lead. Yet somehow people follow the stillness within you. This is not charisma. It is consecration. A spiritual authority placed on your life long before you had the language for it. Like Esther, you were prepared in silence for a moment you didn't see coming. Like Peter, whose shadow brought healing. Like Jesus, who walked with such power that demons cried out without him speaking a word. The weight you carry is not performance. It is presence. You may feel unqualified, you may feel broken. But God often chooses the wounded to carry His glory because only the broken know how to handle it with reverence. This is why you cannot escape the pull to pray, to speak, to serve, to show up when no one else does. You are not seeking influence, you are obeying assignment. And in that obedience the mantle becomes visible. Not to the world, but to those who need it most. The hurting, the wandering, the ones who recognize your flame because they still remember what it feels like to stand in darkness. A fire you can't extinguish, the secret knowing. There is something inside you that refuses to die, even after the disappointments, even after the silence, even after the years of trying to live a normal life. There is still a flicker, a flame, a quiet conviction that says, I was made for something more. You can pretend, you can try to forget, you can lose yourself in distractions, but the fire will not go out because it was never lit by you, it was lit by God. This knowing is not pride, it is prophecy. You have always felt it. As a child, as a teenager, as an adult, it is the reason you cannot settle, the reason mediocrity makes your soul itch, the reason you sometimes cry without knowing why. Like Moses standing before a bush that burned but was not consumed, you are being drawn to the place where your true name waits. Not the name the world gave you, but the one heaven has always known. The fire is not there to burn you. It is there to awaken you, to call you out of hiding, to remind you that your life is not random, that your story is not small, that your breath was never meant to blend in with the noise. You were meant to carry something eternal. There is a moment when a chosen one stops asking for proof and starts listening to the ache, not to be rid of it, but to follow where it leads. That ache is not weakness. It is direction. It is the quiet voice of the Spirit reminding you of what the world tried to make you forget. You were not made for ease. You were made for depth, for purpose, for glory wrapped in silence, and all your life something holy has been waiting for you to remember. To be chosen is not to be greater, it is to be entrusted. Entrusted with burdens you cannot explain, with insight that isolates, with love that refuses to die even when the world feels unlovable, You have carried these things in secret, in tears, in prayers no one heard, but heaven heard, and heaven still hears. This is not the end. It is a beginning, a return, a slow remembering of the covenant written into your bones. You were never alone in your wilderness, never unseen in your sorrow. Every delay, every battle, every moment of trembling was part of the shaping, the refining, the calling forth. If something stirred in you today, let it speak, let it rise, let it burn. You do not need all the answers, you need only to say yes, to lean into what your soul already knows. You are not broken, you are becoming, you are not lost, you are being led. If this journey spoke to your spirit, I invite you to stay close. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to remember who they are and subscribe so we can keep walking these sacred paths together. And if something awakened in you, leave a comment below. Share your story, your questions, your quiet fire. This space is for you. You were never meant to walk with the crowd. You were meant to walk with God, and now the path begins to unfold.